Hi, I'm Joanna, and if you love looking at beautiful houseplants, this video is for you. Today we are going plant shopping. My local plant nursery just got in a ton of really fun new houseplants. I'll tell you about some of my favorites, talk about which are a little more challenging, talk about which ones require a little more care, which are like the GOAT houseplants that everybody should have. So whether you're an experienced plant owner who just loves to look at plants, or if you're a new plant person wondering what your next new favorite plant is going to be, let me know in the comments which plant is your favorite, and at the end I'll show you which ones I decided to bring home. Let's go. This is a lemon lime Maranta, which is one of the more low maintenance of the prairie plants actually. This is a red Maranta, and this over here is a variegated. That is my favorite. I love the watercolor leaves, and I'm really tempted to buy this one. It's actually in bloom, which is so cute, but to be perfectly honest, I have one at home, and it would be really silly to buy another one. I actually had a really interesting experience with my Maranta. I thought it was dead, and I just had a lot going on in my life, and so I left it sitting on my piano, just a crusty pot of dirt. Several months later, it actually sprouted new life, and so I'm a little emotionally attached to Marantas. So if you want a prayer plant that's not going to break your heart quite so much, highly recommend Marantas. This is a philodendron painted lady. I had one of these. It didn't really thrive, but the foliage, like the coloring on the leaves, is just so pretty. I love the speckly look and that beautiful chartreuse with the green. I would get another one of those if I had all the money in the world. Over here is their Pink Princess and White Princess collection. Pink Princess was really trendy a while back. It's not so big now. I actually prefer the White Princess. I really love the contrast of the white on the leaves. And I'm actually planning to get a White Princess in the near future. If you watch to the end of the video, you'll find out what I decided to get today. I love those markings. They're so beautiful. This is a Florida Ghost philodendron. That's a really big pot, so it's $85. They do have smaller pots that are less expensive. They're right up here. And the cool thing about these is that the new growth comes out white, and then as it gets older it darkens into a green. I've been tempted to get these a couple times, but I have never bitten the bullet on those either. The leaves do get a little crusty. White leaves tend to be a little more delicate, but I think if it wasn't out in the bright heat here, it would be doing a little better. This is a variegated burle Marx philodendron. I want one. They look so cool. I've seen burle Marx philodendrons actually growing outside in my hometown in South Florida. They look really cool, but I've never seen this variegation before. I just love how vivid the variegation is on these. It's really unique how each leaf is different. And this is a Ctenanthe. It's variegated also. Believe it or not, I also have one of these at home, but I couldn't quite figure out exactly what it wanted, and so it died back pretty far, and then when it grew in, it actually lost its variegation. So mine just has green leaves now. Ctenanthe is a type of prayer plant, so they do tend to be a little more high maintenance than like a philodendron or a pothos or a scindapsus, but if you can figure it out, they sure are pretty. This is a type of golden philodendron. I purchased one that looked really similar to this a few years ago. It was marketed as a golden goddess, and I got it from Lowe's. It was grown by Costa Farms, and it looked really similar. So I think this is just another variation by a different grower. The leaves are so bright. I like to have a combination of different shades of green leaves in my houseplants. The one I have that looks very similar is actually one of my easiest plants ever. It's not particularly exciting, but it's also just a nice, reliable plant. So I'm guessing this one is probably similar, a good option. This one I want. This is a Calathea orbifolia. They get these huge leaves that grow like the size of your face if it's really healthy. And I had one before, and I got pregnant, had a really rough pregnancy, and unfortunately the Calathea orbifolia did not survive, but it was one of the hardier prayer plants that I had, and so I do want to get another one. I don't know if I'll take it home today, but just think it's such a pretty plant. Look at the stripes, look at those big leaves. They do get a little crispy if you get the watering at all wrong, but if you're okay with having a couple little brown edges now and again, it really is a beautiful plant. This is sometimes called a rubber plant. It is a ficus. It has some of the most watercolor looking leaves I have ever seen on a plant. They're so pretty. The downside of a ficus is that it is actually a tree, and so it's designed to grow outside. It's designed to get huge, and so if you have it inside, it's going to grow slowly. It's not going to act like a tree. Maybe it's terrible, but I actually think that it's a little boring because it's such a slow grower, and it needs a lot of light too. So if you don't have a lot of life, if you're not prepared to treat it like a whole tree inside your house, it's probably not the best choice. This is a Moonlight philodendron, which you might not be able to tell, but it has much bigger leaves than the golden philodendron. Similar to the Florida ghost, the leaves actually come in a different color when they're young versus as they mature. And so that beautiful like lime green chartreuse, that's the color of the new growth on this plant. But you can see the older leaves down at the bottom of the plant still have that rich dark green. And so that's the growth pattern. The new growth will be really bright, but then the leaves will darken as they get older. I've never gotten one because I don't really have a good spot for a philodendron that big, but maybe someday when I have a gigantic dream house, I'll have a good spot for one of these guys. Here we have, it's labeled as just a Monstera Swiss cheese. This is a Monstera adansonii. They are so cute. Every time I see them, I'm tempted to buy one, but I have been down this road multiple times before, and it is surprisingly quite a bit more high maintenance than a Monstera deliciosa, which is the most famous probably Monstera. The leaves are so pretty and lacy and delicate looking, but it is a little more particular. If you get the watering wrong, it tends to get crispy leaves that fall off a little quicker. But if you're ready to dote on it and make sure you stay on top of your watering, give it something to climb, it's a pretty option. This is a Xanadu. It used to be considered a philodendron. It's now in its own category. It's a Thaumatophyllum Xanadu. It's a bit tinier than the big lacy leaves of the selloum, and this one has coloring that I've never seen before. It says that it's variegated. The leaves are primarily like this light green, and then it just has a little bit of dark green along some of the edges. I have to admit, I'm really liking what I'm seeing, and I like the novelty of it since I've never seen it before. I'm really tempted. I might bring one of these home, but you'll have to watch to the end to see if I decide to do that. Look at that cute leaf. Love it. This is a Syngonium albo. It's a lot of times it's called an arrowhead plant. There are some varieties that are really, really expensive. This one actually isn't too pricey, but the variegation is absolutely beautiful. Syngonium comes in a lot of different colors. There's one that's a little bit pink that's really popular. This one I just think is so striking. And these particular pots, I think because they've been growing in such high humidity, have a lot of long vines on them. Syngonium is a vining plant, but a lot of times you don't see that so much in the stores. They grow more as just like a little tuft. And so I think these are really cool. They're $30 for about a 4-inch pot. I'll be thinking about that. This is the Thaumatophyllum selloum that I was talking about. They have huge, beautiful leaves. These grow all over the place. In Florida, people use them in landscaping. I definitely want to get one at some point for my house here in Louisiana, but today's not the day. I don't have a good spot for one right now. This is a Cebu blue pothos, and I have one of these as well at home. I was suckered in because it says blue in the name of it. It's not really blue. It's more of like a silvery green. The leaves are really delicate though. They're a little bit smaller, a little bit more pointed than some of the other ones, and almost have a little bit of a sheen to them. Mine has grown pretty well. I have it in a little bit of a lower light area, and so it's not as lush as these are, but considering the circumstances, I'm really happy with how it grows. I definitely recommend a Cebu blue for your collection if you don't already have one. This is a Marble Queen pothos. These are really popular. A lot of times you can find them at the big box stores. They're really easy to grow. It's not my personal favorite, but that is purely subjective. The leaves have more of a speckled appearance, and I tend to like more of a blotchy watercolor look, but there is no denying that they're really pretty. They grow really easily if that's your cup of tea. This is a lemon lime philodendron, and I wanted one of these for the longest time. I think the color is so cool. It's a heartleaf philodendron that's just a brighter color of green, almost yellow. And I have one of these because, like I said, I like to have a combination of different shades of green in my houseplants, and I just think it's so cute. In low light conditions, the lemon lime philodendron will get really tiny leaves. Mine is actually in pretty low light, and the leaves are really only like an inch or two long. But if you grow it in higher light conditions like this, your leaves will get a little bit bigger. This is a Philodendron Brasil, another staple houseplant if you collect houseplants. They typically have darker green along the outside and then a brighter green or yellow stripe kind of down the middle, but a lot of times they'll have a kind of combination of those colors all over the leaves. I have one of these and I put it in a window, and the yellow lightened up to like a cream color and just turned out so beautiful. So you'll see them everywhere. It's a pretty common plant, but popular for a reason. It's really pretty, really easy to grow. Again, the leaves will get bigger in higher light, stay small in low light, but still just a cutesy cute plant. This is a philodendron philodendron ring of fire. It's another one that I don't have because I don't have a good place for it. The variegation on the leaves is really pretty. I think it's considered a rare plant judging from the price. This one is $80. And maybe I would be more tempted if I had like a big plant area, but I have 3 kids and a regular sized house. And so when I buy plants, I really want them to contribute to the aesthetic. And if I'm trying to cram plants somewhere where they don't really fit, not only are they not going to thrive because they're not going to have the conditions that they need, it's also not going to contribute to the overall aesthetic that I'm going for in my home. So I'm not particularly tempted to get this one, but if you have like a big back patio or a good place for it, it really is beautiful. Here is one of the goats when it comes to house plants. This is a Monstera deliciosa. If you don't have one, you need one. They grow big leaves and are so easy. They like a lot of bright light. They'll perform much better with a lot of bright light. As long as you let the soil dry out in between, you can give them a lot of water and they'll just get these big leaves. This one over here is struggling a little bit, so maybe not the best example, but I love a Monstera. This is the begonia and fern section. These are little maiden hair ferns. They look so delicate. You can see some pretty begonias down there, some big hanging ferns. I don't do ferns and begonias myself. They're a little less forgiving if you goof on your water, and I have ADHD, and so I need plants that are just gonna roll with the punches sometimes. This is called oxalis, and I've gotten this before. This one is a little more seasonal. It's so pretty, but it does tend to die back in less than ideal circumstances. However, you can give it like a complete buzz cut it down to the soil, and it'll grow back again. Purple oxalis, they have this beautiful triangular leaves. I think it's also called Oxalis triangularis. Pretty purple flowers, so pretty. Here's some more kinds of ferns. I think these might be rabbitfoot ferns. Staghorn fern. A lot of people grow these outside in Florida. They look so cool. I haven't gone that route, but you grow them on wood, or I want to say they grow on the sides of trees in the wild. This fern is the cutest little delicate thing I have ever seen. I have admired it a few times at this plant nursery. I am absolutely not taking it home because I know that I wouldn't be able to stay on top of the watering, but it is so feathery. It just looks like a little fairy garden to me. I love it. Here's another big maidenhair fern. They have these beautiful, fine, delicate stems and the little fan-shaped leaves. Again, so cute. And maybe when I have more bandwidth at some point, I'll get one of these. But for now, I just admire them at the plant shops. This is a wisteria growing up over a pergola at my local plant nursery, and it's not for sale. I'm not taking it home, but I just think it is so impressive and so beautiful. So it gets a moment in this video. I've been at the plant shop when it's blooming before, and it's just magical. This is an alocasia blizzard. Alocasia are similar to Syngonium, but the leaves do get much bigger, and they don't vine. They're more of tufting. They spread with underground rhizomes. So you can grow alocasia as houseplants. Around here, they're actually usually grown outside in people's gardens. It's very wet here in Southeast Louisiana, so they grow pretty well. With this little baby, I am not sure if it's intended to be a houseplant or grow outside. To be honest, I think it's intended to be a houseplant, but alocasia are tricky inside. Again, they're super thirsty and they like a lot of bright light, so it can be tricky. Here is a Monstera mint. This is one that's really popular this season. They've been hitting a lot of stores, a lot of people scrambling to get them. I'm not going to get one today because this one is really tiny, and I love big Monstera, and I don't have the capacity right now to put forth the effort to grow it big. So it's not coming home with me today, but it sure is cute. And that's a wrap on today's plant nursery tour. So here's the final verdict, what came home with me. I decided to get the Philodendron Xanadu variegated. I just couldn't say no to these cute leaves. They're so precious. It looks like it may have been chewed up by some kind of buggy, so I'm going to be treating it with neem oil to make sure I deal with any of those potential problems. And I am so excited to have it. You can see my tremor a little bit because I'm so excited. But this little guy came home with me and I have no regrets. And I also opted to get the Syngonium albo. I couldn't say no to this striking variegation. It's already getting some new leaves here with me. This long vine is just growing like gangbusters. I'm thinking that I'm probably actually going to cut the vine and propagate it and then have another little baby that I can put somewhere else in my house. I'm excited because Syngonium do better in a little low light. So I'm going to try to balance putting it somewhere where I want to have a plant, but it doesn't have as much light, but also making sure that I don't lose this gorgeous variegation. But I'm so excited to have this one in my collection now too. So that's a wrap on today's plant shop tour. Thank you so much for coming with me. I hope that you had a nice time. I always love a stroll through the plant shop. Let me know in the comments what your favorite plant was, or if there are any that you didn't see that you wish you had seen, or any tips or tricks that you have for any of the plants that we saw, because the plant community needs to know. If you enjoyed the video, I hope you'll consider liking it and subscribing to my channel, and I will see you next time.